Firsty Friends! Today we are going to talk about our community. Remember from our morning meeting that a community is a place where we live, work, play, and learn. For this lesson, we're going to focus on where we live. Now, there are so many different kinds of homes and different places where you can live. And that depends on the community you live in. In our community, we have people that live in houses. We have people whose homes are in apartments. And we might have people who live in different kinds of homes where they share it with other people, or it's connected to another house. So their neighbors here and they live right here and they're connected. When my mommy was a little girl, the home that she grew up in was called a trailer. And that is a home that isn't put into the ground, but it has bedrooms, kitchen, everything in a small area. My daddy, when he was a little boy, he grew up in a community outside of the city, Chicago. And he lived in a house where it was connected to another family house. So they had one big house, and there was a big wall down the middle, and one side was my daddy's and my grandma and grandpa and his brother and sister's house. And then on the other side was their neighbor's house. We're going to explore all sorts of different homes and houses from different communities around the world. As we're reading, I want you to think about your home and your community and how are these houses alike our homes, and how are they different from our homes? So this book is called If You Lived Here, Houses of the World by Giles LaRoche. Here we have our title page. If You Lived Here, Houses of the World by Giles LaRoche. If you lived here in the dog trot log house, you would have to step outside to get from your bedroom to kitchen. Your family's sleeping area would be in one section of the house, while the kitchen in the living area would be in another. Between the two sections would be an open hall with a floor where a dog could sleep or a possum could scurry through. If you lived here, so could you. If you lived here on the snowy mountain, you could shelter sheep, goats, and cows in your family's chalet with as many as 4 floors. A chalet is much larger than the American dog trot log house. Your animals would live on the ground level, while you and your brothers and sisters would sleep high above on the very top floor. Your skis, snowshoes, and ice skates would be placed under the lowest balcony by the entry door, and your homemade cheese would be stored in an underground cellar. If you lived here, you'd need to scramble up a ladder to get to a hidden rooftop opening to enter your house. Instead of logs, your house would be made of adobe clay, and it would share walls with other homes to create a structure up to 5 stories high that from a distance would look like a village. If unwelcome visitors appear, you could pull up the ladder behind you. So readers, think about the first 3 homes that we've read about. We read about the dog trot log house. We read about the chalet and the adobe clay houses. How are these houses the same? They're the same because all sorts of families still live in them. There's a place for your mom and your dad and brothers or sisters if they have them. How are these homes different? Excellent. If we go back to the dog trot house, it's different from our other houses because the living and bedroom areas are not connected. You have to go outside to get to one or the other. The chalet is different because it's in a snowy mountain, and it has places for you to keep your animals nice and safe. And then the adobe clay houses, they're different because they're not made from wood like the chalet or the dog trot house. They're made from clay. They're also different because their front door is at the top. So you have to climb up and go in. Isn't that neat? Let's find out about some more homes from around the world. If you lived here, your bedroom would be inside a mountain. The front of your house, with its windows and doors, would hide the fact that your home is actually a cave dwelling. A chimney from the kitchen would poke up from the hillside above. And if another room was needed, your family could just carve one out of the interior soft rock. Then you would be among the 45 million cave dwellers living in the world today. Would you want to live in a cave? That would not be a place for Mrs. Grewell. If you lived here, you could catch fish from your bedroom window. Tall and strong wooden stilts would hold your house high above the rising tides of an inlet of the Pacific Ocean. At high tide, you could hop on a boat and visit a friend. And at low tide, you could walk around the base of the stilts to gather crabs or watch pelicans glide overhead in their own search for fish. If you lived here, you could step directly from your front door onto a boat to go to school. Your neighborhood would be on a man-made island, barely above sea level, with a network of channels filled with all types of boat traffic instead of cars, bicycles, and buses. The floors of the 3 upper stories of your house are made of wood and tile, but the floor of the bottom story is water. If you lived here, you'd have to cross 3 drawbridges to get into your house called a chateau. Once inside, you would have endless corridors with dozens of rooms to run through and 7 towers to climb, from which you could see for miles. In the surrounding pond, called the moat, you could row alongside paddling ducks and swans and over swimming frogs and turtles. If you lived here, you would always have friends at home to play with because your huge round house would be home to dozens of families. Your family's own living and sleeping rooms would be on the upper levels, while cooking and laundry would be shared with others on the ground levels. The interior rooms face inward into courtyards, and only the 2 top floors have exterior windows. So the 2 bottom floors don't have any, only the 2 top floors. If you lived here, how would you find your home when so many look alike? The color of the door and railing, flower pots on the stairs, or your father standing on the balcony would help you spot your house. These cube-shaped houses seem to sit on top of each other as they mount up a steep hill. Because streets are often used like outdoor rooms, you might have to dart across a tiny lane to go from your bedroom to the kitchen. If you lived here, your brightly decorated home would be easy to find, with a brush or your fingertips and lots of colors. You and your mother and sisters would have painted the outside walls of your home in bold geometric patterns and shapes that look like flowers, leaves, and birds. Each house facade in your village is decorated by its family, and each has its own recognizable feeling expression, like on a person's face. If you lived here, you could move with your family and bring your home called a yurt along with you. Easily taken down in an hour, a yurt is made of parts light enough for your family's horses or yaks to carry new grazing grounds where they are reassembled. Although the outside felt walls surrounds one large room, the yurt can be divided into smaller living spaces. If you lived here, you could travel with your family from Alaska all the way to Florida and always be home. Tucked inside this trailer are fold-away beds, a small kitchen, a tiny bathroom, a sofa, chairs, and cabinets filled with food. At your doorstep, you could have a campfire at Denali National Park in Alaska, or spot an alligator in the Everglades of Florida. So this is the kind of trailer that my mommy lived in when she was a little girl, except their trailer didn't move around. They had one space it stayed in. If you lived here, you could see the sunrise from your bedroom window, feel your house rotate, and later see the sunset from the same window. Using 2 steering wheels, you can turn your floating house to get a different view. When you want to get ashore, you just scoop over on a 20-foot-long metal gangway. So, my friends, there are all sorts of different kinds of homes. Think about the homes in this book. Which one would you want to live in and why? How is it the same or different from your home?